Hi, Senna. Thank you for what you do with City Council.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for taking your time to, be part of a commission and working and volunteering. I appreciate it.
Well, I think City Council is an especially hard, there's so many meetings and so many decisions, but it's great,
Yeah.
great
I
that
see
we
Brian laughing about the so many meetings. Yeah, we weren't exactly expecting a pandemic when I was running last year.
Surprise.
Yeah, wee, lucky us.
It will be remembered for a long time.
Yeah, 2020. Let's hope we've got some good news soon.
I don't know if you see the New Yorker cartoons, but they had a great one with a house with a piano landed on top of it. And everybody's to send in caption about what they think this cartoon should say. And I think one of the best was, what do you expect? It's 2020.
Yeah, Twitter this morning, a friend had posted about, Russia unthawing prehistoric worms in a permafrost, and that 2 of them were still alive. It's actually an article from 2018, it turns out, and there's also some debate as to whether the worms were actually unintendedly introduced or if they actually were thawed out. But still, everyone was like, no, refreeze them, put them back. We don't need this now. We've seen that episode of the X-Files and it doesn't go well. You're muted, Diane.
Mute me. Can you hear me now? Right when the pandemic started hitting us in March, I had just finished reading a book called The Body. I don't know if anybody's read it, but it's like the layperson's medical book. And they were talking about the pandemic in the early 1900s, and they couldn't figure out where this new germ had come from that was causing this. And then there were some Arctic explorers who brought back some Arctic ice, and they found the pandemic in the ice that was melting. And so there was this theory back then that it had come from melting ice in the Arctic and just had been covered up for, however many years. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking global warming, pandemic, and here we are a century later and wondering, with all of the melting Arctic ice, what is happening. It was just a very odd time to be reading that book and come across, because the book is like 450 or 500 pages, and to come across this little tidbit in the same period of time of March, I thought, whoa, this is a little frightening.
Maybe we should get that book on the bestseller list and we'd have more people worried about climate change.
Well, I don't know. I think there's some people out there that'll never be worried about it for whatever reason, but it sure did, shake me up.
Diane, I see Sue Moffat's in the audience.
Okay.
Does she need to be brought into the meeting, or is she just a spectator?
I should ask her if she wants to come into the meeting. She can do either or.
Sue, if you can hear us and you want to come into the meeting, just raise your hand. Click the raise hand icon. Otherwise, we'll just keep you where you are. Looks like she's happy where she is. or she's not listening. I'm going to turn off my camera, Diane, but if you need anything,
Yes.
just let me know.
I will do that. Thank you. Okay, folks, I think we're still waiting for Autumn and Laura, and I know we have one other person. We're not going to have a quorum today. But I don't know if either of you have heard that May had her baby.
May's actually on.
Oh,
She's
is
muted,
she?
but she's on.
Where are all these people? Why can't I see everybody?
Autumn and I are here too.
Okay, I need to put a full screen, I guess.
I'm muted with my camera off because I'm
Yay.
feeding my baby right now.
Congratulations.
We want to see the baby.
Tell us. Name? Wait.
Mavis,
Uh-huh.
Rose Ripley Soroka.
Uh-huh.
She was 7 pounds, 3 ounces, and 19 inches.
Yay.
Yeah. So I actually got
Oh.
a shower. That's my hair.
Congratulations. I'm amazed at how awake and like that you are. I'm
What day was she born, May?
She was born, I was induced on the 1st, and she was born at 5:56 a.m. on the 2nd.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
So
Okay.
it went really well. The first labor with my son was horrific.
Uh-huh.
So this was a very nice change.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I feel a little crazy, a little sleep deprived. So I'm here.
Just a little sleep deprived.
Little. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh, you look terrific.
no,
you know?
that's because I actually got a shower. That's
That does help, doesn't it?
yeah, it does.
I got weekly showers when child was born. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
yeah.
Like, oh, how long has it been? I'm wearing the same clothes. Yeah.
Between
Yeah, maybe-
COVID and being in
Maybe if I can shower in 5 minutes, it'll work.
Yeah. So
Well, that's just wonderful news.
I was
congratulations.
thank you. I'm gonna send along pictures in a
Good,
few minutes. So
good. Well, I actually thought we weren't going to have a quorum, but we have 5 of you, so we actually do have a quorum today. So,
We've met
I'll
our
just-
obligation no matter what happens.
yeah. So, Autumn, had you sent out the minutes? I don't know. Is Autumn on with us?
She is on.
Okay.
And yes, they went out Friday morning,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. And did you all have a chance to read those minutes and review them? Since we
didn't
can
see
actually,
them.
we actually can vote on approving or changing. You didn't receive them?
I didn't. Let me check my spam. Even city email addresses has been having. And did they come from Autumn?
They came from Autumn. Actually, they came Thursday afternoon. Sorry.
All right, I'm just gonna search. Okay, here they are. I don't know how I missed them. Give me like 2 minutes and I'll scan these. Where do you visits? I mean, personally, it looks like what we talked about.
Are we ready to approve, or I'm only leading right now because we don't have a chair at this point.
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And May, I could let you lead the meeting if you chose to, but I'm thinking I would give you a break.
yeah,
As you're
kinda-
holding a baby.
yeah, a little preoccupied.
Yeah. Well, last week we talked about a streamline, I shouldn't say last week, last month, a streamline report to council this year. instead of a full report and PowerPoint, but really focusing on just what has been happening and how the agency has been getting the work done during the pandemic. So both of my chief of administration and chief of service sent some written details of how each of their divisions are getting the work done. And there's just a couple things I want to look at and add and to these minutes, but I want, or not minutes, I should say, but to these reports that they gave. But I do want to share with all of you. And I think, Janet, you said you'd be willing to give the report to council. Is that correct? Did I hear you right last meeting?
I'm willing to. If someone else wants to, that's fine with me too. So we had a new member last time, and
Yes,
I couldn't
we
remember
did.
her name, but did she volunteer also?
She said that if you couldn't do it, that she would do it. But
Well, I'm happy to, or I'm happy to share it with her, whatever she
Okay.
wants.
yeah, and being new, I think it would be nice, Janet, if you did it. So before I go into those, let's get back to chair and vice chair stuff again, because we really should. And May, I don't know where you stand on, you had spoken about the possibility of having a job in Richmond or the Richmond area. I don't know where that stands right now, but maybe you don't
Yeah.
feel like you want to share that at this point. but-
Well, I should be starting in January, mid-January.
Okay.
So did I lose you? Okay, sorry,
you're
my
here.
screen is getting crazy.
No, you're here.
I should be starting mid-January, so I need to see like if I'll be able to work this in, and
Mhm.
I'd rather have that conversation with them in person.
Right.
So
Okay. So we'll wait on that. But I do think we need to, everybody that's online right now, think about if you would be willing to have your name in the hat to be chair. You may want to give it more thought. You may want to just contact me after this meeting and not during this meeting. But we do need a new chair. Chrissy, again, isn't going to be able to, is no longer on the board. So give that some thought, okay? And
Diane,
yes,
what kind of extra time commitment is the chair? I mean, I don't think I can be chair actually,
yeah.
being the council representative, but I am curious, what is the extra time commitment of being chair and the duties of being chair? Just so
Yeah, the extra time commitment really is the chair is the one that gives the report to council, usually in council chambers, in the annual report, and then leads the meetings. Oh, excuse me, let me mute my phone here. It's something that it isn't a great big commitment. It is, seeing the agenda, seeing if there's anything extra they want to add to the agenda, and then it's presenting the annual report. But really, everybody on the board shares equal responsibility for what goes into that report. And it is just a matter of delivering the report and then leading the meetings each month. Well, we also talked about, at least until we're through this, making it an every other month meeting and not an every month meeting. So, so I don't know. I'm going to just leave it there, and please contact me if you're willing, since we don't have a chair right now, and I don't want to put this on May's shoulders at this point. Okay. So contact me if you're interested in it. Okay. And we're still, down a few positions on the board. We have asked our staff to possibly bring the idea up with some of their clients to see, or former clients, to see if we can get a few more people on the board that have actually received services from social services, because I think their perspective is really, really valuable. And if we do get applicants that have, they don't even need to, they don't need to say that they have received our services on their application. I mean, they can, but they don't have to. I mean, that's something that is confidential, so they don't have to. But just even having such people apply and possibly be appointed by council, I think gives a really perspective that we value on the board. So, and I know Rebecca and others, Janet, you were a former foster parent, not through us, but other places. So I know that, you know, that we do have that perspective on the board. But again, if you know people in the community that you think would be a good asset to the board, please encourage them to apply. Okay. I know this is, yes.
Janet, I talked to somebody at People Places and I thought she would apply, but maybe not.
Well, I don't know. I don't get the applicants. This clerk of council gets the applications.
And then we look at them every 3 months. So we might have gotten them, but we won't be sent the application packet until probably beginning of December.
It looks like
Um,
December 11th is the cutoff for applying.
So somebody might have, I'm actually posting it as we're talking now to encourage people to apply, and also assuring them it's not a huge time commitment, but a way to actually have a voice heard.
Right. And again, right now we're doing every other month. We're not doing every month, but we are, you know, it is what it is during the pandemic, but it is something that we have our monthly meetings. It's a lunchtime meeting, and generally we will supply lunch, folks. It's a little difficult now, but I do want to say, bring something up that is not yet approved by the city manager, or the interim city manager, I should say, but I believe that it probably will be. Every year, I think those of you who've been on the board know that we generally have a holiday luncheon for all of our staff. And, you know, it's our one time to get together where it's not a meeting, it's just a nice fun time. Generally, the staff will sing songs, play some games, and we just cater in some food. Obviously, we're not going to do that this year. We are not getting everybody together. But what we're hoping to do this year is be able to give people a $15 gift certificate, probably to Barracks Road, since there's a Kroger's there and there's a Harris Teeter, and then have a lunchtime meeting with all staff and just consider it our holiday celebration, where it would be hopefully a Zoom meeting that most of staff would participate in, and just tell them, go out and buy your own lunch. There's also a number of restaurants there they could order out and carry out or have delivered from. So we want to keep it within the city's tax base. So we were thinking of $15 per staff person. But again, I need to get that approved. But if so, we'd certainly like to invite all of you to join us in that little bit of a celebration, if possible. So that would be in December at some point. We don't have a date set yet, and not going to do that until we get, like I said, the city manager's approval. So hopefully a few of you or all of you would be able to join us then. So, okay.
This happens to be during this meeting time.
Yeah, we could, you know, we could do that. Although I'm not sure what the fourth Monday in December is.
Oh, that's
I don't know if
We
anybody has.
we don't usually do, we just do it when it's convenient to staff.
Yeah, but but if it's convenient, if it's on your calendars for a Monday, I mean, staff right now, most of them are working from home. So I'm not sure that what day it would be would make a huge difference, because again, it would be lunchtime. It would be the noontime meeting, which we generally use. But I'll get back to all of you on that, okay? and of course, you're welcome to join us if you can. All right. All right, so let's get into report to council. Again, it's not going to be a full-fledged PowerPoint, but our Chief of Benefit Programs, who is Mary Jane Skidmore, sent a report on what, and I'm just going to read through some of this, but not all of it, but she said when she was requested to pull it together that she reviewed her emails that were being sent by the state and by the city and by our department. And she said after reviewing them since the beginning of COVID-19 until now, she said, all I can say is we are a very nimble organization with a dedicated staff. And I thought that's really very succinct and very true. How we are getting the work done and certainly in benefits, and certainly those first 3 or 4 months, they were just inundated with huge new caseloads, especially for SNAP benefits and even growth in TANF. So it was interesting. So her comments, I'm just going to read some of this, is we handled the initial request to isolate by teleworking full-time. And this was a huge change to normal routines for everyone. We dispersed some of the benefit workers already had laptops, but we dispersed 20 more laptops to help workers and to help them learn how they can log in from home with VPN. We changed the workflow of how documents are handled from the receipt in our office. So in our office, all the documents could be mailed in, Dropboxed, or faxed, but we were no longer allowing people to walk into the office. We still were helping people. If they had trouble filling out applications, we would help them by phone. We would help them in any manner that we could, but we weren't bringing, the only people we brought a few service people and not service people, but people on service cases into the office when we've had to remove some children and things like that. But we weren't doing one-on-one in-person assistance with filling out applications, but we were still doing one-on-one assistance over the phone. We developed a process of managing the documents from receipt to scanning to our virtual mailbox. So all of this is just all due to technology, and I'm not sure what we would be doing if we didn't have the technology we have now. I couldn't imagine this when I started 27 years, almost 28 years ago, how we would have gotten through this pandemic the way we are now with the ability to isolate and not have to have more than 10 or 12 people in the office at any given time. So she said we developed a process of managing the documents from receipt to scanning to virtual mailbox to email notification to workers. And we now have a permanent virtual fax process as well as a new way to handle client mail. We issued 20 additional cell phones to our benefit program staff to manage client calls that were forwarded from their desk phones to answer calls, conduct interviews, and supervisors stayed in the office to manage the need to mail out forms, documents, and issue EBT cards from BPS staff teleworking. So there's only been 1 or 2 supervisors that have been in the office regularly. And then our social services assistants and front desk people have been rotating who's in the office and who's not in the office, but they've been doing a lot of our scanning of in-paper applications so that that our workers can get those electronically. So, and of course, when COVID hit, the community just faced so many layoffs and businesses all over. So that public assistance, and we've already gone over the SNAP, Medicaid, and cash assistance, just skyrocketed the needs. So the intake staff formed a COVID-19 intake rotation, and by doing this, they were able to manage the new increase in applications from the community. And this lasted for about 3 months. And during this period, social services requested waivers from the federal government. And this was the Virginia Department of Social Services who actually supervises us, and for the SNAP and Medicaid programs. And they got those waivers, so they didn't have to do the reviews and the renewals. People were kept on those programs, unlike usually they have a certain length of time they're on the program, and then they have to review whether they're still eligible. So the increases, of course, we looked at those at our prior meeting. We looked at the increases in our SNAP, especially our SNAP program, which is a supplemental nutrition assistance program. But then there is a whole chart that Mary Jane sent about the duration of like the SNAP waivered interviews for new applications. So usually when somebody's applying, they have to do an interview, but those were waived. And for the applications for reapplications and renewals, and those were waived through the end of August. So now they're very, very busy because they have all of that backlog of reapplications and renewals that they have to get through. Although the extra numbers have slowed down some, there are still a lot of new people that are newly unemployed or have run out of savings that are applying now also. So she went through each program and what happened. And this would be the written stuff I would like to send to council for the report, because it's a nice graph of each program and what happened and when the deadline stopped and when they had to start doing renewals again. And when things like Medicaid, there was a directive not to close or coverage for existing cases during the pandemic unless the client moved out of state or died. But otherwise, Medicaid, we have that until January 2021. So, so thankfully, we've got a number of more months, and hopefully, given where the pandemic stands right now, that will continue. So, so all of that is on this chart and is going to be, I think, very beneficial for City Council to see. And the same thing with TANF View. They lifted all sanctions on View cases. Like, people could be sanctioned on View if they hadn't, if they quit a job, didn't find a job. There were all sorts of reasons why people could be sanctioned, but all those were lifted on View clients as far as having to go out job searching, find a job, get a job, keep a job, that kind of stuff, because what's happened in our economy given the pandemic. So, and then refugee assistance, which again, we have many fewer refugees at this point, mainly because of our immigration policy, not ours, but the federal immigration policy right now. But the refugees that we do get, when refugees came into our country, they would get cash assistance for 8 months. So that has been extended at least. So they didn't get cut off at 8 months. It's been extended at least until the end of this fiscal, I should say the annual fiscal year, December 31st, 2020. So don't know if the federal government's going, because that's federal dollars, all federal dollars, whether the federal government's going to continue that or not after December 31st. But at least people that were between March and now that were hitting their 8-month period, they've been continuing receiving, and they haven't been cut off from the cash assistance for our refugees. So again, this is a nice, very nice chart that she did for this. And I think this would be something that whoever, Janet, if it's going to be you or whoever's going to give the report to council, you could easily take this chart. And also we would make sure that they got it ahead of time so that, you were looking at the same thing that they were looking at the same thing that you were reporting from. Does that make sense? And I mean, if we send it ahead of time, it can also even go up on the public Zoom site for people to see. So
That's what I was going to suggest,
Yeah.
that it could be put up on the Zoom, so everybody's looking at what's being talked about. It sounds
Right.
like a great chart.
Yeah, it is a very helpful chart because it has dates on it, it has extensions on it and all of that. And then on our service division side, of course, their work didn't really change. It just changed on how they're doing it. So they also transitioned to work from home, and and the manager, Jenny Jones of the service division, said that they managed to transition to work from home in March surprisingly well, due to already possessing, they all already had laptops, cell phones, and state issued mobile devices, which is specifically for our family services specialist or social workers get those. And they worked quickly with the finance department. And so our finance department here, which is under Laura, all the administration, they've had to be in the office most days. So our admin, Laura, myself, Autumn frequently. Hello there. So they, the finance people have had to be in the office, but all of the other divisions have not. The division has focused on solving how to meet the clients while protecting staff as well. So lots of PPEs, protective gear, have gone out to our social workers. And they were also electronically able to do their visits. That has now changed. They are now, well, in April, they were given guidance they could do them virtually, but that has now changed. And they are doing them in person, but again, with protective gear, and trying to do them mainly outside of the homes. And when I say visits, this is visits, with children in foster care or families that have prevention cases. So again, the big thing for them is the decrease in the Child Protective Services referrals. And that has come mainly because our biggest referral source were the public schools. And the public schools have not seen children since March, at least not seen them in person since March. And it's, as people have discussed, learning is not the same when it's done virtually, but also you're not seeing the children socially. You're not seeing, what is going on with them emotionally, socially. If, there's any strife that comes into the schools, and children talk or friends talk about what's happening, that's not happening. Again, some of our most frequent reporters at this point are our first responders, because police, fire, are our biggest referral sources at this point. And unfortunately, in those cases, sometimes, not unfortunately, I'm glad we're still getting those referrals, but those can be some of our most serious referrals that come to our attention. So it's not that we're not getting any referrals, but they're definitely way down. And we don't have a way to gauge what is. So, we just encourage people to, extended family members to connect virtually with folks and friends, just the way it is these days. You don't do the in-person stuff, but it is something that, again, we don't go out searching for children or families who need assistance. We are waiting for referrals. And I say waiting, it's not like we are hoping that, we're going to get a whole bunch of referrals, but we just don't want any children or families, because it really is a family dynamic. We don't want families out there suffering because they don't know where to turn. Again, we're still also doing many, many prevention cases. which means the children are still in their homes. We're trying to also get children returned home. The other thing is, again, we were noted by the Casey Foundation and had a virtual interview with the Casey Foundations. The generations, all generations, I'm not sure of the exact name and it's not on this report, but I will get that before we report to council. They both were interviewing us because we, not just in the state of Virginia now, but are known for our kinship placements and the rate of children that if they can't be with their biological parent or parents at the moment, how high our kinship placements are, how high our kinship adoption rate is, so that children stay with people they know. And again, we have many, many foster families that are not kinship placements, but we have in the state of Virginia, we were noted again, and this was in our last report, in the JLARC report, for the work we did to family partnership meetings and trying to get extended family members and fictive kin that know children so that children are not going to people they don't know. It's scary enough to have to leave their home, but at least if they can go with people that they know, it's a little easier. Not easy, but a little easier. So, and then our adult protective service cases have steadily increased over the last year, and the increase in cases really don't seem to be related to COVID. There's been an increase both in adult services. Now, adult services are people that are trying to stay in their own home, but they need some home help aid and they can't afford it, so that, you know, we can help pay for the home help aides to go in and help them. But there's been an increase in those cases, but also in our adult protective services cases. And adult protective services can be self-neglect, which many of them are as people age, and you know, a neighbor or a relative or friend will report that, you know, they're living in squalor, or they're not taking their meds, or they're not getting, you know, they're not, you know, eating properly, all those kinds of things. So it can be self-neglect, it can be neglect by a caretaker, it can, which could be a family member or an outside person, or it can be financial exploitation. All sorts of things can happen with adult protective services that people don't think so much about. But and thankfully, we've, you know, had an increase in the financial exploitation things with at least a few of the banks in their community are very willing to report when they see things that are untold as far as how much money is coming out, or prior to COVID, people that were coming in every week with an elderly person taking lots of money out of their bank accounts and that kind of thing. So we have had some very active bankers who have come to the aid of people that are considered either having a disability or age related, fit into our APS services. So all of this work is still going on. It's just that a lot of the benefit workers do not have to go out in the field at all, other than our view workers once in a while. But they have been, you know, processing these enormous numbers of cases and now trying to get through all the renewals that are now having to happen. And our service workers are also working mainly from home. They were able to do a lot of things virtually. They've now been required to start doing things in person. But again, we're trying to keep the social distancing, but at the same time observe the children and the families that we're serving. So again, all of these notes, thanks to both of our division chiefs, are here. And I don't think, and we'll certainly send all of this out to council before the meeting, but I do think that it's good for us to get on a council agenda just for any public that sign in they can hear what's happening also. And there's probably some people out there don't even know that they might qualify for something right now because they've never done this before in their life. And so they may be standing there, you know, at the churches or the food bank and taking food, but don't realize that given their current situation, they may actually qualify for SNAP benefits, and they haven't considered that. So I think if we can get this on a council agenda before the end of the year, that would be great. So any questions on any of it?
So Diane, will
Yeah.
you request of the city manager, interim city manager to put that on?
Yes, yes,
Make it-
yes. Yeah. What I want to do is I want to kind of format this a little bit, and then Janet, if you're still willing to present, I will certainly be at that meeting and online, so you don't have to feel like you have to answer any questions that may come your way. So does that work? And if it does, Janet, let me know if there's a time frame that certainly wouldn't work for you if you plan to do it. Because I
What would be really nice is if I could just lip sync to a recording of everything you just said.
Well, I'm certainly going to forward all of this stuff to you so that you will have it in print. But I don't want to put a burden on your shoulders. But certainly, I would forward all this to you, and you could put it in your own words. You don't have to read straight from it, but you could. And we will, we'll just make sure that the information is out there. And again, you never know who's on a city council meeting listening in, and who may hear something that they think, oh, I have been concerned. I haven't seen my neighbor's kids outside in a long, long time, or they may say, gosh, I didn't know that maybe I would qualify for SNAP benefits. I've lost my health insurance, and maybe, instead of going through, when you don't have savings to go through the federal, health insurance stuff is not cheap, but maybe I would qualify for Medicaid. This is stuff that, I think that report could help. And maybe I'm just pie in the sky here, but I hope not.
No, I think that's important information, and having it at a city council meeting where people are watching is important.
And this is based on your current income, not
well, some of it depends upon how much savings that you have. If you've got $100,000 in the stock market,
right now,
you're not going to qualify.
The fact that they could go through an evaluation, is the important thing, that
right.
The possibility.
Right.
Maybe
and like I said, there's many people out there that, they're at the food bank. They're in a line of cars hoping to get food from a church or that kind of stuff. And some of those people may already be on SNAP benefits and just not making it still, but some of them may not even realize that they might qualify for a benefit because they've never done that. Some of these people may be in their 50s and 60s and never in their life have applied for a benefit program assistance from the government. So I think yeah.
When do we usually go on the docket for city council?
Usually in November. We're usually on in November, but this year we haven't gotten on the docket yet. So we've had a change in city managers. It was something I was going to be talking with Dr. Richardson about in September, but that of course did not happen. And so my first meeting with our interim city manager, John Blair, is now scheduled for December 9th, but I'm going to request an earlier meeting, but not just to discuss this. I have a few other things to discuss with him. So
is it possible then that we may present the report in January? December would be fine, but I'm just wondering.
Well,
one thing is council is looking at starting to do the reports at like 4. We're trying to, starting in, I don't know if it's the first meeting in November, the second meeting. What we're trying to do is trying to limit the late nights to some extent. And one idea has been brought forward is that instead what we'll do is we'll do reports at 4 or 4:30 until council goes into closed session, then have closed session. And then because reports don't need voting on. In this way, people can always go back and listen to the reports on Facebook or other media. Also, it's not keeping staff necessarily sitting around waiting until midnight to give a report. So we're trying to alter and that we're hoping also that means some of the decision key points will also end up being earlier in the night for those kinds of discussions instead of happening at 1 o'clock in the morning. So there's actually now a designated time for reports. So there would be a good chance, I would think, to get this in the early December.
So shall we try to shoot for council's first meet? I mean, I haven't talked to John Blair yet, but shoot for the first council meeting in December?
Yeah,
I think we should shoot for that and see what happens.
Would that work for you, Janet? Oh, you're muted. There.
That would be fine.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I would be delighted to have it first instead of last year. I think we were up at maybe 11:40, maybe something like that. Chrissy was at the podium. So that would be delightful. So I can't tell council what to do, but I'm voting for it.
We're really trying to figure out ways, because also we don't want to be having, constituents sitting around waiting until 1 o'clock in the morning for a very intense discussion on something. And so at least if we're pushing everything back, and we've looked at places where, again, people can go back to listen to reports if they're not able to make it to that because of work.
Right.
Because they're not decision points, it's information. So
right.
The idea is to put those earlier so that both staff is not having to wait around, and so that our constituency is able to hopefully make it more wide awake to some more important decision-making times when public comment is needed and elicited.
Like I said, sounds good to me.
Be more coherent at 4 o'clock.
Yes. Okay. All right. So we have a couple to-do things. One is think about, if you know of anybody that would like to apply, because council's going to be considering those applications soon. Is that your next meeting?
I don't remember, honestly.
Okay. Well, I think
it is.
I think
No,
Laura's,
because December we'll get the packets.
Okay.
The final time is December 11th.
Okay.
To apply, we'll get it it'll be the last. We'll get the packet, so it should be the last meeting of the year, probably.
Okay, great.
We'll be making this decision.
Great. Okay.
But the holidays are upon us, which I know it seems really weird to even think about them, but I'm sure, that's still, people are still going to be trying to do something holiday wise.
Right.
So anybody we can get to put in their applications now would be good.
Great. Okay. So I'm thinking, do you guys want a meeting in November?
I think we need one if we're going to present
Okay.
in December.
Okay. So we'll schedule the November meeting. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but it would be the 4th Monday of November. So I don't know if that's before or after Thanksgiving. It's probably
It's the 22nd, I
Okay.
think.
Okay, so that'll be before the
23rd.
Monday. the Monday before Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Mhm.
Okay, so we'll try to get that on the schedule with Brian Wheeler's department. And Janet, you and I can get together before that if you'd like, and go over. Oops, you're muted.
I would like to do that after
Okay.
after I get your written materials.
Yes, I will send you that, and we'll get together and go over all of that. Okay, does that work for everybody?
Definitely. And so I'm assuming that we'll cancel the 28th, December the 28th meeting.
Yes. And would you all like to be invited if we do get approval from city manager for our holiday lunch? Again, it's really not going to be an in-person lunch. It's going to be everybody just online. And you're certainly welcome to join us, but I, just wondering if you want to be invited, because it would be fine. It would be nice.
I would like to be.
Okay.
Just so I can thank people.
Okay, that would be great. All right, well, we'll invite you all and you can accept or not, decline. It's up to you. Okay. All right. All right. Anything else? Anything happening that we should know about?
Can we see the baby? She's gone.
She's gone.
My husband has her right now.
Aw. Aw.
I'll ask him to. Oh wait, I hear her crying. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Oh.
Okay, honey, you can bring her over here if you need to.
Okay, talk to you soon. Okay, you too. Bye.
Aw.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh, don't cry, sweetheart.
Hi. Oh, hello.
Is that your little sister? Is that your little sister?
He
You're
can't
gonna
hear
hide.
you because.
Oh. He's hiding. He's going behind you to pat her head.
Okay.
He's already playing peekaboo with her.
And how old is your son now, May?
He's 5.
Oh, good big brother.
He is amazing with her.
All right. All right. Shall we say goodbye, everyone?
Oh, really quick.
I will mute myself.
If you're looking at going to every other, so we'll not have the December meeting, but we'll have the January meeting.
Right. How's that sound?
We'll
Does
look
that
to
work?
Not have the February meeting maybe as well, just to kind of.
Yes.
I
to
think
do
we
the
should play that by ear. Let's
Yeah.
have a January meeting and we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. So we'll plan on November meeting. We'll invite you to December online lunch, and we will have a regular meeting in January then. November and January for now. How's that? Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about, because I know nothing about the COVID rates, among clients. Do you have any kind of tracking?
We do not track client rates. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just-
I mean, that's all HIPAA stuff, confidential stuff. And
Yeah.
we don't track that. So
So the city doesn't really know? Does the city not know? Only the Department of Health, I guess.
you're right. I mean, and they wouldn't know whether they were our clients either.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
Yes.
the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, the Department of Health has been doing a great job, and they have, there's the COVID dashboard where you can go online and check daily at 10 a.m. every day. They update the numbers. And also we've been encouraging everyone to download the COVID Wise tracker. I don't know if you can see it here. But if you put it on your phone, it will notify you if somebody near you has, because it's got a GPS, so it'll notify you if somebody who you've been nearby has been exposed. And
What is it called again?
it's called COVID Wise.
COVID Wise. Okay.
So what it is, if you get exposed, if you test positive, you put in that you've tested positive, but it doesn't have your name or anything like that. And then what it will do is it will notify people, it will notify them so that it'll notify like you have, people you've been near, whose phones have been near you, will say, hey, you've been exposed, is the way I believe it works. It's exposure, currently I have no exposure detected. Plus then there's also the tracking that as soon as, they've hired more people do contact tracing, that as soon as somebody is positive, meet with them, they find out, they go out and they start trying to track down who you might have been in contact with, where you've been. And that's helping keep numbers down, because we're still rising. And also every Friday, the health department puts out like a consolidated kind of what's going on COVID wise. And the mayor has had Dr. Bonds come pretty much monthly to give a report on COVID measures and what's going on throughout for Charlottesville in particular at the city council meetings. But yeah, the COVID dashboard for the health department is really good and updated, like I said, by 10 a.m. every day. So, and
Thank you.
highly exposed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I want everyone to stay safe out there. And I'm
Yes, we're trying. Yeah.
I'm not the health department, but wear your mask, please. You're all very valuable to us, and I'm sure to your family and friends. So please be safe. Please be safe. I can't tell you, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the staff that we have, and I'm so grateful for the time that all of you and all the encouragement you give us. And serving on the board. So thank you, everyone. All right.
And please thank your staff.
Yes. Oh, yes, I will. Anything else before we close this meeting? I miss you all. I hope to see you all in person sometime in not too distant future when it's safe.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
Hopefully in 2021 sometime.
Yeah, that would be great. Take care of yourselves, okay?
People have a good Thanksgiving. Well, we'll see each other before Thanksgiving.
Yes, the Monday.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
All right.
All
Be
right.
well.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye now.